Hi, I'm Heidi from Garden Crossings, and today we are at 4-Star Greenhouse, the home of proven winner annuals. And today we have
I'm Brian Bourdon, Senior Manager in the growing department. Been here for 25 years. Work real closely with the annuals and our contract growers.
So he's going to take us through the gardens today and talk about the new plant varieties for 2024. So yeah, let's start.
All right. Thank you for coming, by the way. So first thing I want to talk about is, this is kind of new variety aisle here. The gardens were planted, mid to late May, early June to finish up. About 4 weeks ago, I do like to point out, we got hit with a pretty heavy hailstorm, possibly even a microburst. We actually had a 40-yard dumpster that got moved about 30 yards, almost into a ditch. We lost some acrylic.
Wow.
You could see some holes potentially from the hostas and from the hail, and it really did some serious damage at the time. But a testament to the proven winners, you can really see how most things have come back pretty well.
The gardens are gorgeous.
Items that probably took the greatest hit were begonias and coleus. We really pinched back pretty hard. But the first new item I'm going to talk about, which look really rough because they got beat up hard, and we didn't, because they're new varieties for us next year, we didn't have anything to replace.
Sure.
So some of these look a little bit rough.
Yeah.
We've been looking at Rieger begonias for quite a few years, and salinias have been on the market. Just really the best performing begonias that we've trialed. So we've been working closely with supplying good availability, and we introduced some of the best colors. We've got apricot here.
Full sun begonias?
Full sun begonias.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you can see some in the flower bed over there in the full sun doing extremely well.
Yeah, we'll walk over there.
They, being smaller, I think, kind of took the damage a little bit better than some of the baskets. But apricot is probably the best performer and a really good seller as well. And then chocolate orange is that really novelty color with the dark leaf and that really bright orange color that has a lot of consumer appeal. Some nice combos over here
this
with
is a nice combo
with
with
them.
Prince Tut here.
Yes, with Prince Tut.
Okay. Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah, I like a lot of the combos that we're doing now with the ivies and the helichrysums, and one of my favorites, Medusa ipomea. We introduced this a few years ago.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Most ipomea are so aggressive, they take over things in combos. But here you can even see it with the Jamesbrittenia, where it's playing fairly decent. Doesn't get much bigger than that. It can be pretty
great
dense.
texture too.
It does. Yeah, it's got an interesting leaf texture. The other one, Scarlet. Scarlet is probably one of the more popular reds, and then of course Salinia yellow.
Okay, beautiful.
I think they've been around for a while. Availability can be really tough on salinias.
Okay.
One of the reasons why we didn't introduce them last year is we really wanted our stock suppliers time, gave them forecast 2 years in advance, so hopefully we have really strong availability going into next spring.
So is there any tips to growing begonias that you can give? Because I feel like sometimes, I don't know, when we grow begonias, they're just maybe either long and kind of loose feeling. These look like they're really nice and tight.
The salinias have a really nice habit.
And for the consumers, once they get them planted into their containers, do they like it wet, dry? Or is it just kind of
average moisture?
Okay, all right, yeah.
Begonias, I think the biggest thing with begonias is not too wet, especially early on.
Okay.
It can be a challenge in this environment here because you've got these huge baskets that are all on the same target, and they need water 2-3 times a day. And so then sometimes these are getting overwatered. We do different amount of drippers on them and stuff, but too much water is a little bit detrimental to begonias, more than too dry.
Okay, so a little on the dry side is better than too wet.
Yes,
okay,
absolutely. Moving on down, we got another new begonia, the Double Delights. We came out with a couple of colors of Double Delights a couple of years ago, and this one, Apple Blossom, is a really nice color addition. The other thing I like about Apple Blossom This is almost the staple habit for future double delight begonias. This is about 30% more vigor than the other double delights.
Okay.
And just the branching on it is phenomenal. It looks fantastic as a mono. And they also have a really nice scent.
Oh.
So a lot of people don't know the double delights have a scent to them, and they're even an edible flower.
Okay.
I wouldn't eat them, but I was told by the breeder you can eat them, and I thought, well, I wonder what they taste like, but I'll never find out.
I keep wondering. So what is the difference between the salinia and the double delights? Like habit, just different begonia families?
They're slightly different species.
Okay, all right. Because the flowers look similar.
They're very
these
similar.
Maybe dangle more.
These will, the biggest difference that you'll see with these is they will trail just a little bit.
Okay.
You know, the begonia, the salinias are definitely much more upright.
Okay.
They might look like that's but they're more of a cross between a nonstop and a fibrous begonia. So they're more upright.
Nice. Great.
Okay. Campfire marshmallow. Bidens is a great new addition to the Bidens family. You can see some great shots over in the landscape on the other side of this bed of how nice this does in the landscape. Pretty aggressive. And also it's got a really nice clean white flower that kind of buries its dead for the most part.
So no deadheading.
No deadheading. Great. And what's neat about the flower petals is they kind of overlap, unlike a lot of other Bidens where they don't do that, so it gives it a neat little texture.
They do look a lot more vigorous than some of the other Bidens that we've grown.
It is aggressive. You know, Campfire Flame, Campfire Marshmallow, we came up with that Campfire as more of a, you know, it does well in its place, but it will perform extremely well in the landscape.
Okay. A lot of new doubles this year.
A lot of new exciting doubles. I really like double redstone. It's got that neat little bicolor red and yellow, and reds and yellows are two extremely popular color combinations just in, you know, when you're doing uprights or baskets, those tend to be really good sellers, so it's nice to see that in one flower. It's very stable. You can see a little bit of transition here, but for the most part, you always have both colors, and you don't have a lot of flowers just turning yellow or just turning red. And the other thing is that you see very few in the summertime, the heat, losing their double.
Okay.
So that's one of the things we look for in the double Superbells is that consistency, cover the dead, and not to lose its double look in the heat of the summer. This was actually probably one of the better performing calibracoa class of everything that we trialed in the ground. A lot of people have gone away from using
because we kind of
calibracoa in the
recommend
ground.
keeping them in planters, although we'll try them in the ground just because we want to give them the most, I don't know, the harshest type of growing environment. But they're in the ground plantings too. They're doing great.
Yeah, and most Superbells, they don't like it a little too wet or too dry, so we recommend them more for container gardening where they got the optimum mix and better drainage.
Right.
This one is a really nice performer.
Beautiful.
And the most heat tolerant. Yeah, it did extremely well in our trials down in Florida. It was the last one to go out of color.
Okay, yeah, that's a gorgeous new color.
Probably one of the favorites throughout the last 3 years in trials has been double smitten pink. You know, it's just got that.
It's got a big flower.
Big flower and just a great two-tone color that really makes that center pop.
Yeah.
Beautiful habit. Medium vigor, again, as you can tell, so you want to be careful putting it with combos with something more aggressive. You know, the vintage coral you can put with Supertunias and aggressive Supertunias and things like that, but you want to be a little bit careful what you mix this with when you're putting
the
together your
doublet love
uprights.
swap like that
Very similar.
wasn't a very good one to mix with. Yeah.
But a beautiful color.
Yeah. Wow. And then white, of course, you gotta always have a good white in the mix.
And this has probably been the cleanest white that we've trialed. And most whites, I mean, you can even see in this one, you see a little bit of brown down underneath there, but hardly anything at all. We've been trialing double whites for a long time. I love this in the
Yeah,
upright
that's a great combination.
with the angel face wedgwood blue and the diamond frost, and that double white with the dichondra. It's just beautiful.
That is a nice mix.
We also have 2 new colors which aren't shown here. Improvements, not new colors, Superbells blue and Superbells pink.
Yeah.
Where we're just improving the flower size for the pink, the uniformity, and also the branching, especially Superbells blue, which tend to be very stringy.
Right.
This is one of the best improvements we've had over the years.
So what I've noticed too in our trials is, especially the pink, I feel like it's more iridescent, like the color. I mean, it's got like a beautiful iridescent sheen to it, and even the blue is a little bit shinier feeling. I don't know, they're gorgeous. And the sweet potato vine, oh wow.
Yeah, sweet
Beautiful.
mahogany. This is just a fantastic heart red color. You can just see how thick and dense the canopy is on that plant. And most red ipomoeas tend to really fade by this time of year.
Okay.
You know, they start out red and they're not quite as deep of a vibrant red as what this one is.
Yeah, these are
And-
rich.
And they're very rich in color. That's a perfect word. I gotta start using that one in the future.
Yeah, they're great. And I kind of like, especially how you're showing them like as a mono in a basket, because sweet potato vine are aggressive and often just can take over when you get to mid to end of summer. And I don't know how many people think about using them as just a standalone plant in a basket, but that really is beautiful looking. Just
I love these combos over here with Thunbergia and then Persimmon Supertunia.
Yeah, that's a great mix.
That's just fantastic. But again, those are 2 very aggressive plants that'll play pretty well with it.
Yep.
That's
Those
the
are
penny
beautiful.
lace that we came out a couple years ago, which is another.
Yeah, I like the serrated edges on that.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Jamesbrittenia. So this one, personally, I have a hard time, I don't want to say a hard time growing, but I'll mix it with things and I lose it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, probably I'm growing it too wet maybe?
Too
Or-
wet, too cool.
Okay.
Jamesbrittenia is, you know, I believe, I think it's native to Texas,
Okay.
which loves the heat, loves the dry temperatures down there.
Yeah.
We've
Drought
been
tolerant
drought
too, I would
tolerant.
imagine, right?
Drought tolerant. It can be a little challenging in Michigan in spring, depending on our weather.
Yeah.
So you always want that in the warmest, brightest spot, keep it a little bit drier. Safari Dusk is really the staple going forward for any more Jamesbrittenia that we're going to introduce. I'm really excited about this plant. We've been playing, we've been trialing Jamesbrittenia since I've been here, since before I started 25
Because it's kind of like the
years ago.
Bacopa replacement, right?
It can be, because
Ish.
it won't go out of color in the summer heat
Yep.
if you dry it down.
Yep.
Bacopa, you dry it down, it's out of color for 2 weeks.
Right, right.
This thing, it likes it dry, but Safari Dusk can take it to the extreme the other way. So for a Jamesbrittenia, this is the first one that can really take it pretty moist, and you can tell, kind of like how those begonias down there being too wet, don't like it.
Yeah.
These are on the same target, 2 emitters, no
They're
problems at all.
gorgeous. It's a great color too.
Large flower, I would probably, for, you know, northern growers, Memorial Day, you know, it might not be the best item for Mother's Day crop,
Yep.
just because they do like that highlight. But in the summertime, just truly fantastic. Great habit, great performance.
Yeah. And it's so neat too, seeing the plants just all individually. That way they're, you know, getting all the attention. They're not fighting with any other plants to see who's, you know, more vigorous or stronger. I mean, obviously we're seeing it here on the back side, but seeing them individually, I think it's really helpful just to see the true habit of the plant and what it does.
But Safari Dusk, great in combos. This is probably, I love this combo with the saffron finch and dreamsicle.
I like the colors. Like that's not my color scheme, but that does look really stunning in that basket there.
And you can see the vigor,
Yeah.
you know, so it plays well with Supertunias and Superbells.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I think saffron finch is probably overall like the team's favorite.
Is it?
Personally, I guess maybe I shouldn't speak for them, but I love the great new yellow color. it's so much more vibrant than the others yellows of the Superbells to date. So how would you put that into a class, like if you're going to plant that with the vistas?
Lower vigor compared to the vistas.
Okay, so a vista could kind of overtake it.
Yeah, depending on you know, bubble gum or things like that.
Sure.
Even within the vistas, you have different vigor classes.
Yeah.
So I think mini vistas, you'll be okay with most of them.
Okay. What if you'd go like 2 saffron finch to 1 vista? Or do you think
That
a
helps.
vista would still?
No, that helps. I
Okay.
think you can do that, or even you could even do 3 saffron
Oh, with
finch around the
one in-
outside and 1 bubble gum in the
Okay,
middle.
well, that's a good idea.
And I do that a lot when I'm playing with things that I don't, you know, once it gets established, it's fine. Where you struggle is when it gets taken over early in the
Sure.
combination, and then you never see it.
Yeah.
But what I like about this is just its round globe habit.
Yeah.
You know, so many of the yellow and the bright color. It's just
It
fantastic.
is. It just grabs your eye. It grabs
Compared
your
to
attention.
limoncello, which is a great plant, or mini vista yellow, one of the best performing landscape Supertunias we've ever trialed is mini vista yellow.
Mini Vista Yellow has been taking over everything.
Yes.
Which is great if that's what you're wanting, right?
A little smaller flower and a little
Yeah.
darker color. This has just got that bright, vibrant appeal.
And I like that it's ish a bicolor. I mean, I know you're not probably calling it a bicolor, but it's got that deeper yellow throat and then kind of fades out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a beauty.
Yeah, this one has been definitely a favorite. I'm not surprised you mentioned it. And then the Hoopla Vivid Orchid.
So
I
this
would
is-
say these are always in the top 3. Of
So as
people's
far as
selections.
customers seeing it, they're definitely like all over the hoopla. When we were planting up our trial plants, if you watch the videos, Rod was not a fan. He just didn't like the flower look. He might be changing his mind a little bit now,
Yeah.
but that wasn't for him. But everyone that's seeing it is loving it.
Yeah,
And-
the uniformity of that picotee all around across the globe of that plant, and we've trialed a lot of picotees over the years, and this
Yeah.
is the first one that really held up to our summer performance throughout the country.
And we had asked earlier about the white edge getting a little bit thicker or thinner at times, which is perfectly normal.
Perfectly normal to see
Maybe
a
the
little
heat
bit
of the
of a
summer, we're
change.
seeing a little bit more white. So
Mhm.
if we see any inconsistency of the white picadee, that's perfectly normal and fine. The other thing I'm noticing is with the hoopla next to the saffron finch, hoopla looks like it definitely is more of a trailer, or is that just what we're kind of seeing?
Yeah,
here?
this is a pretty fair comparison right here. I
Okay.
mean, they're both. I mean, all Supertunias are trailing.
Right.
It's kind of funny, you know, when you
Right.
think
But that one just seems like it's got a little bit more trailing effect going on.
it does.
But
it
who
does.
knows? It could just be placement and sunlight and whatever. but-
Yeah, it is a little less globular, I guess
Yeah.
you could say.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So that has the same vigor as the saffron finch. They're both a vigor 3,
Yep.
so it could get planted together and
Absolutely.
play well together.
Yep.
And maybe, I guess there's not behind us, but yeah.
And you can see even there with the Mini Vista White, which
Oh,
Mini
yeah.
Vista White is pretty aggressive,
Oh yeah,
but you know, it's still poking through.
yeah, beautiful.
And the Superbena Cobalt is another one that's pretty aggressive. So, you know,
Superbena Cobalt, is that new? Because I'm not,
it's a rename from.
was it Imperial Blue?
Yes, it
Oh,
was
okay,
Imperial
all right.
Blue.
I'm like, wait a minute, I feel like it, okay, good, that's good to know.
Yeah, it's the same exact plant, just you know, somebody probably
Right,
there was some
patents,
some
trademarks, all that
patent
good stuff.
legality. Somebody said,
Yeah.
"Hey, you can't use Imperial Blue," so we
Yeah,
had to change the name
Cobalt,
to Cobalt.
that's good to know. So, Imperial Blue and Cobalt, same plant. Because Imperial Blue we sold a ton of this year.
Yeah.
So that name change is going to probably
It will catch people off guard.
Yeah. But and that plant I think was one of the nicer Superbenas that we've had. Like just the way it performed and color and stuff is pretty cool.
Skipping over, since I know this is the only one that we have of it out here, we got another Superbena down there, but since we're talking about Cobalt in the rename, we do have Cherry Burst Improved. Cherry Burst has been a really popular seller for us for a long time, but it's been a lot more compact.
Okay.
And so we're going for a little bit more vigor, better habit.
Okay, yep.
You will see on Cherry Burst a little bit of the changing in the color, which we kind of like that in trials, where it almost gets a little peachy sometimes.
Yeah, well, I talked to John Gatos, and that's what he said. He goes, improved habit, but there's going to be a lot more consistency of the inconsistency.
Yeah.
I guess if that's a
That's
good
a great
way
way
of
to
saying
say
it.
it.
which it does. It looks like you have two plants mixed together, but really it's all coming from one.
Yes.
So, yeah, we've done a lot of pictures just so people get that plant and have the two different, you know, things going on, that they know that that is intentional and definitely supposed to be that way.
And the habit matches much more closer to the other Superbenas now.
Okay,
It was
yeah.
always difficult to use cherry burst before, and combinations are alongside a lot of the others. So
Yeah.
getting more to what we're looking for with this.
And that looks great with the Bermuda Beach Improved as well. Like, I guess I wouldn't have thought of putting those together,
Mm-hmm.
but that is really cool. And I'm loving the improved color of Bermuda
Yeah.
Beach. Like, we could never use, like, it felt like a hard color to use in the past. Kind of that orangey, pinky. It was just hard to use. Where this is just so much more vibrant, and I think going to be easier to use in combinations and such.
I completely agree. That's one of the things I loved about this. We initially started looking at Bermuda Beach Improved as more of a liner propagator improvement, because Bermuda Beach was always one that we struggled with getting good quality liners from cuttings.
Okay. Yep.
It's just more nutritionally challenged, I guess you would
Yeah.
say. You could always find Bermuda Beach out in the greenhouse because it was yellower.
Okay.
You had to feed it heavier. It was more difficult to grow in the early season. And this checked all the boxes on the propagation side. And then what I also liked about it is what exactly what you said. The color to me is more unique compared to Bermuda Beach. Bermuda Beach to me was almost more of just another pink.
Yeah.
So
Pink, but not pink. I don't know. It was hard to work with. But now there's going to be people that are going to disagree. They're going to say they love the old color better,
yeah,
which we all have our own
I don't
thoughts
know
and
who's
whatever.
the Kid Rock.
We're jamming
fan
out
over there.
here.
So an introduction, really, we delayed this 1 year. This is a great new variety. It's called Sweet Sangria Supertunia. Great habit, fantastic landscape performance. We are delayed with getting elite material to our stock suppliers in Costa Rica.
I heard that.
So
yeah.
this is going to be a 24-25
Okay.
introduction, but it's still a great plant and starting to show people at a time.
Totally worth waiting for, because this one in a landscape is just taking over in a good way and is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So excited. We'll wait for that one until 2025.
Yep. The mini vistas, we have new color we got ultramarine, which
Yeah.
you know, the mini vistas are kind of, we talked a little bit earlier how Superbells or calibracoas in general are not really known for that landscape plant that you'd plant in the ground, but they got that nice, unique, smaller flower.
Right.
So we've been looking at, the Supertunia class that's going to have that smaller flower but fantastic landscape performance. So that's where we came up with the Mini Vista series, and this is the first color that is really truly almost a royal velvet color in the Mini Vistas.
I was thinking when we got this, I was like, why do we need another purple with, is it Mini Vista Midnight?
Midnight.
But that one is so much darker. Not black, but super deep.
You can really tell, especially in a mass planting.
Okay.
You know, if you were just to grab two individual flowers and put them next to each other, you go, do you really need both?
Yeah.
But then when you look at it in the landscape from a distance, it's definitely
Yeah. Well, this is just richer.
unique, yeah.
Yeah.
Great
Beautiful.
new plant.
Oh, and then the coleus I keep calling watermelon dropper.
Cherry drop.
I know it's cherry
Yeah.
drop, but we didn't get tags, so like I had nothing to reference. So I'm like, I know it's a fruit. I know it's a,
Yeah.
I know there's, so cherry drop.
Cherry drop, we have strawberry drop, chocolate drop,
Yep.
and now we added cherry drop. This is it's a little bit more upright than the other drops in the series, but at the same time, you can definitely still tell where it is starting to trail, even though
It's a monster
it'll want
plant.
to curve up, yeah. One of the things that I've really liked about this in the trials in the summer heat, a lot of times when you're looking at similar genetics in these types of coleus, they lose that pink in the heat of the summer, or they're too early to flower, and this was very late to color up and never lost its pink.
Yeah,
So
it's gorgeous. It's taking over my aqua pot. Like I'm like, I need to go in and nip a little bit of it back. Or I think I planted two. I should have planted one. Like you live and learn. So take from my advice, and one is enough when planting in a big container.
does
But
very
great
well
color.
in combinations. I love this combination with the
Oh,
Keeler
it's
Christmas.
beautiful.
and the black cherry. That's just fantastic. you know, and this could be a hard thing to find to put with combos because it can take over and can be so aggressive, but that's just turned out really nice. Or even with regular Ripamia.
Yeah.
Senecio angel wings. This has been a plant that's been around for a while. Improving winters, we're looking for a lot more foliage texture type things to play well with combos. Our owner likes to say balls of color, you know, they're great, but at the same time trying to look for different things for combinations for baskets and uprights. Senecio angel eggs is just a fantastic plant.
And this plant sells out quick every year. This is, I think, was our second year of having it. So this next year will be the first year as a proven winter variety, and it is. It's always one that sells out just right away.
And it's a great deer-proof item. For
That's a box that a lot of people want checked.
Yeah, there's leathery foliage type items. Deer don't really like that texture, so really good for landscapes if you got a lot of deer in your area.
And I love those planted in the hanging baskets too. Like I don't think I would have thought about maybe a container, yes, but not in a hanging basket. But that's a neat looking hanging basket as well. Mm-hmm. And mixed, you got it mixed in with some.
Superbena. We use a ton of Senecio in upright combinations at retail.
Yeah.
You can see here with
that's pretty. Pegasus
hippo rose.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, that's a nice combination with the Pegasus and the Kufia. Probably one of my favorite introductions over even the saffron finch and the hoopla vivid orchid is the Superbena pink cashmere. This thing,
beautiful.
I've been looking at this in trials for the last 3 years going, we should fast track this thing because it's just amazing performance. We were jokingly, somewhat seriously calling it Vistabena because it had such an amazing performance in the landscape compared to all the other verbenas that we were trialing. Huge plant. You can see in the landscapes where it's focused how beautiful in that big round flower bed over there with the Ipomoea and the Truffula.
Yeah.
Some great shots you can take of it from over there.
So if you're calling it a Vista, not really, but jokingly Vistabena, that would tell us too, like you're very confident that could play well with any of the vistas, even bubblegum, and hold its own.
Yeah, very aggressive. It's at the top end for vigor. It's definitely a vigor 4 for the Superbenas.
Gorgeous, gorgeous. Well, thank you for taking us through this new plant row here and kind of explaining all the new plant varieties. I think it's always exciting to get feedback from the actual growers, from where we get our plugs and such from, and to see the excitement that you have for the new plant varieties. I mean, we get excited just because anything's new, but to see your excitement, I think it's really fun to see. So thanks for taking some time and walking us through and showing us these new plant varieties.
Well, thank you for coming. I really enjoyed having you.
It's been a pleasure.
Gotta ask, do you have any favorites of your own?
Well, so the saffron finch.
Saffron finch,
yeah,
that's right. That's
definitely, I think is, if I had to choose one, that would be my one. But I do agree here with the pink cashmere, like it's a beautiful plant and excited to try it in new mix combinations. It's always fun to play with the new things and see how they mix and blend with other things. So yeah.
Great.
Well, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below. We'll get to any questions that you have. Thanks for watching. I'm Heidi from Garden Crossings.